All right, everyone. Thank you so much for attending our webinar. This is Katie.
And Dr. Bob from Holganix.
And we're going to be your host today. Dr. Bob is our Director of Plant and Soil Science. Dr. Bob, can you tell them a little bit about what you do and where you came from?
Well, I have a long time of being in the crop protection industry, where I was involved in inventing and then selling and marketing herbicides and plant growth regulants. Spent some time in the biotech world, kind of on the human health side on vaccines. And after that, I came on board here as initially as a consultant, and now I'm the director of research. And I have responsibility for regulation. So I mean by that, I mean governmental regulation of our products, keeping the sales force technically competent, and I'm responsible for production as well.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and get started. Our agenda today is it's pretty simple. We're going to start off with a little information on Holganix Bio 800 lawn. This webinar is geared more towards the lawn and landscape professional. So if you are a homeowner, it might get a little confusing, but hang in there. We'll try and keep it rather easy to understand. And then we're going to follow up with some case studies, look over Dr. Bob's university studies on the turf side of the business. And then we're going to do some Q&A. So right now we're figuring that the presentation will be about 25 to 35 minutes long, and then the rest will be Q&A.
Katie, I got one comment. If I couldn't grow a lawn, I'd love to have a landscape like that.
I know. I do have to admit this one is not a Holganix picture, but it is pretty. So to get started, we're just going to put up a poll so that we can understand where you guys are coming from, how familiar you are with the product. So hold on one second and I'll launch it for you guys. All right. Are you currently using any Holganix products? Select all that apply. So you have the Bio 800 product, lawn. That's what we're going over today. You have PB1 LTO, Healthy Grow infused with Holganix. That is our granular product. And analyses include 243, 1032, and an 835. And then we have the Holganix Blue Sky 2100, or I'm not using any products yet. And I know we have other products too, but these are our most popular. And they only give me this many options. All right, we have 70% of the people voted. Let's see if we can get it up to 80% before we close it and share our results. All right. This is what we've got. We have 46% of the people. Dr. Bob, I don't know if you can see, I'm not using any yet. 32% are using the lawn product, 29% the Healthy Grow, and a mixture of others. Awesome.
Good group of users.
Yeah. So hold on one second while I put this back. So just to start off, what is Holganix Bio 800 lawn? Well, the product is composed of over 800 species of beneficial soil microbes, along with a bunch of other awesome soil amending ingredients. And essentially, we harness those microbes to allow lawn and landscape professionals to reduce the use of fertilizers and other inputs, increase root depth and density, improve soil health, and increase tolerance to stress, which really comes back to making sure that you have a really healthy soil health ecosystem and root system. Do you want to comment on any of that? Did I glaze over?
I think you got it covered, Katie.
And if you're looking at the product for the first time, just a little bit of background. It is liquid. It is 100% organic, and it's used as part of a fertilization program, most often used in a fertilization program. And so what I mean by that is you would use the product in combination with other fertilizers, herbicides, and what have you. And our recommended application rate is about 7 ounces per 1,000 square feet. Now, fertilization programs and rate can differ depending on the program that your Holganix rep sets out for you. And that will depend on your region, turf types, and what have you.
Okay, it's well said.
So, Dr. Bao, this is where we turn on the science. This is one of your slides on, I guess, 3 universities that you've worked with in the past.
So this is some work that was done at North Carolina State and at Penn State and at Purdue. They ran a similar test. The object was to see how organics might affect the need for fertilizer. And what they were measuring was the green effect of the lawn. So looking at that North Carolina State study, which was the one on the far left, he was able to get the same amount of greening with a half a pound of nitrogen as he was with a pound without organics. So you can see the use of organics reduced the need for additional fertilizer over a half a pound. And then, and these were all on cold season turf. So in the case of the work at Penn State, he actually got the same amount of greening using a quarter of a pound of nitrogen. And at the study at Purdue, actually at an eighth of a pound. Now, what this does is it points out that there are variations in the basically the biggest variation is the soil itself, how much fertility was there left over from previous use and so forth, what kind of soil type it was, what kind of rainfall was involved. So that's the kind of variations that you'll see from customer to customer. But the important take-home message is that you can achieve a reduction in the fertilizer use necessary to get a satisfactory greening response. And our general recommendation to somebody who's just starting out would be to go try it at a half a pound. If 1 pound is what you normally use, try it at a half a pound. And rather than go all the way down to an eighth before you know you can do that. And on this case, this is studies with herbicides. The pre-emergent herbicide was prodiamine, and what they were measuring was the control of crabgrass. And they were able to get the same level of crabgrass control when prodiamine was used at a pound per 1,000 square feet in combination with organics versus the standard rate of a pound and a half. And then on the post-emergence was with a 3-way herbicide. So dicamba, MC, let's see, I've forgotten now, 2,4-D, and I forgot what the third one was. But you're familiar with the 3-way combination products. Oh, there it is, it's written on up top, dicamba, 2,4-D, and MCPP. So in this case, they were able to use
sorry, the text is small.
Yeah, I'm sorry, there were 2 different places. That's what I was trying to get at. Penn State was able to get it down to a half an ounce versus an ounce and a half per 1,000. And Purdue was able to get it down to, let's say, 2/3 of an ounce versus an ounce and a half. So again, the use of organics enabled a reduction in the amount of herbicide that was required. Now, I like to think that the reason that this might be the case is that some of the bacteria in the product are lactobacillus, and these bacteria can produce what's called a bio-wetting agents or biosurfactants. And so I think what's happening is, like in the case of the prodiamine, we're getting a good spreading effect on the soil surface so that the herbicide is able to make contact with more grass seeds than it would without having had a surfactant. So the seed, the plant actually has to grow through the barrier of the herbicide in order to be killed. So the better spreading you have on the soil surface, the more likely you're going to control the crabgrass. And the post-emergence product, you're dealing with weeds that are already growing, and you have to get the herbicide into the leaf or uptake by the roots. And again, I think the biosurfactant is having an effect here. And we're getting better wetting on the plant and better uptake of the herbicide, resulting in less herbicide required to control the weeds.
And now, just so that you guys are aware, on our website we have a compatibility and rate lookup chart. So if you're using any kind of herbicide, you can plug in your active ingredient and it'll tell you what your recommended reduction would be. Because, the university studies, we push it to the limits on these to try and understand the product. And, there was something else you were talking about earlier, Dr. Bob, about some studies that you were doing on, I believe it was seed germination and rooting this past fall. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Well, what we know to be true is that the Holganix promotes early and more vigorous seed germination. So, for instance, if you had just planted a new turf, if you just put down lawn seed and sprayed that soil or sprayed that after the seeding or before the seeding, you'll get a better germination. You can see this also in studies we've done with certain agronomic crops. As an example, corn really jumps out of the soil faster and grows much more vigorous than if you hadn't treated that soil with organics. So what I was doing was developing a bioassay so that we could test various formulations of our products, and just on seed growing on the blotter paper that had been treated with various rates and combinations of organics. And we get really interesting responses. But it just goes to show, again, that the organics has a favorable effect on seed germination. Again, this is due to the activity of the bacteria. Certain bacteria that are in the product produce plant growth hormones, like auxins, gibberellins, things that you may have heard of. And these things promote seed germination, so it's not a big surprise that this is able to be done with organics.
Okay, so just another question for you guys. I'm going to launch this poll. So now that you've learned a little bit about the results that you can expect and some of the university studies behind it, which is your favorite result? We got 58% of the vote, 62% of the vote, 65, 70. Awesome. All right, let's share the results. So about 41% of you said soil health and 34% said reduction in inputs. So that's interesting.
What's really interesting to me is that 45% or 47% of you recognize how important it is to have a healthy soil.
Yeah.
Soil is not just that stuff we walk upon and put plants in to grow. It's really a living, it's a living, growing environment, just full of microorganisms, not just bacteria, fungi, nematodes, protozoa, and even bigger things like worms and mites and other bugs. So it's a living place that creates a really wonderful environment for plants to grow in.
So now we're going to look at what we're seeing, what our customers are seeing out in the field. And we chose a selection of different case studies and testimonials from across the U.S. Just so that you guys are aware, we have over 70 case studies available on our blog. So if your region isn't up here, or if you want to dig deeper into a particular result, they are available for you. So this first one is Growing Green Lawn Care out of South Carolina, and the CEO and founder, Jonathan Rigsby, is the man that did this testimonial and case study. And one of the best quotes I heard from him is he said, "You can spot a grown green lawn because it has Holganix on it," which I just loved. But he is seeing a 50 to 70% reduction in fertilizer. Now that depends on how long he's been servicing a particular lawn. And he's been seeing better, more consistent color on his turf. He's also seen a lot of great results on trees and shrubs. It was actually the first thing that he was drawn to about the product. And I just included this one little bullet that it helped ensure trees and shrubs didn't experience the flare-ups from insect or disease damage that he would usually see. And I will be sending out a link to this case study specifically. And so if you guys would like to learn more about the tree and shrub side, that is available to you. And it's both a video and text.
So a neat thing here that I was just reminded of is if your operators out in the field are creating any damage, like for instance they're doing some digging or they did some damage with their equipment, it'd be great to have some Holganix, the bloom or tree and shrub available, and if you can spray that damaged area, you'll see much quicker recovery than if you hadn't.
Definitely. So for this company, Ultra Green, they're located in 3 states, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Florida. So they're all over the place. And these 2 guys, the owners, Caleb and Josh, the 3 biggest things that they saw was less disease pressure. That's because we're building a healthier soil. And according to Caleb, this is his quote, "We've seen about 50% less disease pressure than in previous years when using Holganix alongside reduced amounts of fungicides." So he's still using some fungicides. He's just brought down that, he's reduced that active. He's also seen greener, healthier lawns. They seem to stay greener longer and appear thicker. And because he's getting less callbacks, he says, according to Josh this time, and an overall increase in turf health, he's seen a savings in material cost.
Also, savings in time. I know you all know this. The worst thing that in your businesses is for the phone to ring in July, because that's usually somebody trying to bring you back to solve a problem. And then Katie, I'm kind of interested, which one of those 2 guys decided to get an early start on retirement and move to Florida?
I actually don't know, but smart guy, whoever it was. The next guy I have on here, Pure Green, Nathan Brandon is the CEO of this company. And the real reason why he was drawn to the product is the fact that the sustainability element of the product gave him a marketing advantage. So according to Nathan, over the last 10 years, I have really noticed that more and more of my customers are requesting organic services. He has seen a reduction in his fertilizers and his herbicides. I don't have the specific numbers, though. I can share his blog after the webinar so you can dig into a little bit more. And this lawn above there, that is before Nathan's program, which does include Holganix, along with other things, and after. The next guy I have up on here is Brandon Haley of Red Diamond Inc. in Alabama. And he's seen a lot of really interesting results. He actually oversees, I believe it's a 72-acre corporate facility. So he's on the same property day in and day out. So he's really able to play with the results he's seen, really measure it, get into the details. And according to Nathan, our soils are heavy clay that needs aerification to even put a shovel in the ground, but we have been able to get roots into that clay that are about 8 to 10 inches despite the tough conditions. So he's seen increased root depth and density. You can see that's Nathan over there with a big hunk of roots. And he's also seen reduced irrigation, he says by 75%, and improved healing during installation. He's doing a lot of beautiful landscape beds that he's installing, and when he uses the Holganix Bio 100 Bloom, in this case, product right after installation, he's able to see much better improved recovery there.
This is a guy who I've met over the telephone, and he is really, really enthused about using Holganix. Now, he is responsible for this corporate property, and these people, this corporation, Red Diamond, takes great pride in the beauty of their headquarters campus. And so it's Nathan, right? So Nathan has seen.
Oh, I'm sorry, this is Brandon.
Brandon.
The one before was Nathan Brandon, and this is Brandon Haley.
Brandon has gotten numerous awards for the results of for the beauty of his landscape environment there.
And especially in regards to sustainability. That's really important to them. And this next one is Furman University. They're using us on their campus, not their corporate campus, their actual campus. They are testing us on their sports turf last year and using us on their rose garden. So this is a campus that is known for its beauty. It's won tons of different awards. Just to read off a couple. Most beautiful U.S. college campuses by BuzzFeed, College Magazine, Travel Channel, and USA Today. It just gives you an idea of what it means to be the groundskeeper for this campus, which that responsibility belongs to David Manning. And he's using several different Holganix products in order to take care of his facilities. The Holganix Bio 100 lawn, the Bloom product in regards to the gardens, PB1 LTO, and Blue Sky 2100. And overall, he's seen a 40% reduction in his fertilizers. And he's eliminated I should say blankets, not blanket, fungicide applications. And I just want to read a couple of different quotes here from him. Let's see. We are using Holganix lawn on both warm and cool season, says David. Our cool season turf looks shiny, hardy, and thick. We also haven't had to supplement the turf with irrigation. It looks beautiful. And then he's also using it on warm season, specifically centipede turf. This, according to David, his quotes, we talked about changing out the grass variety, but decided to try Holganix Bio 100 lawn first. It has grown in beautifully, even crawling into shady areas. I really believe Holganix lawn has helped with the warm season turf. So that just gives you an idea of some of the results he's been seeing with it. In addition to the agronomic benefits, he's also been able to help Furman University reach their sustainability goals. And our last one on here for the case studies that we've selected for today. Now, this is a sports field, not lawn care, but I loved the data that they had, so I thought to share it anyways. They're located in California. And specifically, I'm just going to read a couple more quotes. This is from Luke Yoder, the groundskeeper at the time. Our roots were 8 inches long by May after sodding in March. Typically, we would have 4 to 5 inch roots at the time. We also saw more white root hairs, and the roots were denser. So really great rooting results there. And he's been able to reduce his nitrogen by 25 to 30%. In addition, he's seeing, this speaks to a point that you made earlier, Dr. Bob, about recovery. They have 100 events per year, and he would typically sod normal wear areas 3 times per year. But with the Bio 800 product, the turf held up better, and he only had to resod 1 to 2 times per year. So he was able to reduce his needed resodding.
You know, there's nothing more challenging than a baseball field because it gets played on more than most fields, other than, say, a golf course. But in addition to played on, it gets covered so often. Mm-hmm. So it gets less light because the tarps are laying on the grass. It's really, really a challenge. And when they put the tarp out on the grass, that's like opening the door for plant disease.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's a tough job to keep those fields looking great.
So just to summarize, the core benefits of the Holganix Bio 100 lawn product, the stuff that we want you to take away from this webinar, it's the reduced fertilizer and herbicide rates along with other inputs, and that's because of an increased utilization, among other things. Increased root depth and density, increased tolerance to stress from weather, traffic, and disease, and improved soil health. That, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Really a good audience. It was a lot of fun engaging with you.
Yeah, definitely. Have a wonderful spring season. Good luck, guys. And we'll talk to you soon.
See you guys. Bye.